Market conditions remaining bullish in this bull market. Bull market rank currently at 23.32. We're seeing the upper end of this range. We've been here now for really the last 6 months. Let's talk about a few areas that are at risk in this current trend. We're seeing momentum improving and strengthening. We're also seeing sentiment, which is also good, just not seeing participation in breadth. And the question is that going to be leading to the downside, or is that going to get all of the weak stocks moving higher? We'll look a little bit closer. Momentum in the upper end of that range, and breadth stuck in the middle and weakening. Sentiment still strong right here. Buy-sell ratio getting a little bit of volatility right here, where we saw a big day down and a big day back up again, back to 0.43. So overall market internals, as far as the number of stocks in downtrends, are in charge right now. Bears are in charge with the large number of holdings. We know that there is just a small group that's holding up the market right now. That's primarily the S&P 500 and NASDAQ stocks. Let's take a look at those chart patterns. They're the strongest patterns. We had the CPI data, which the market wanted to see, inflation numbers slowing, which they were. So we had a nice gap up higher in the last few days. S&P leading and NASDAQ leading, which is the Qs. But we've got Dow that is really lagging right here, and we've also got the Russell 2000, which are mid and small cap stocks, is also weakening right here. So we're also seeing buy-sell ratios on the major indexes. NASDAQ 100, it was up over 2, and it's still the strongest, but everything else is relatively weak right here. You can see those buy-sell ratios are, you've got, when you have a number 0.29, it's looking at this number and it's looking at this number right here. So you're heavily to the sell side on that ratio, really across the board, other than NASDAQ. So that at some point, which is gonna break? Are we gonna get these stocks that strengthen, or are we gonna get these stocks that continue to weaken? Okay, so that is really what we're paying attention to right here. We're seeing sectors really weaken yesterday and really starting to pull the bulk of sectors to the downside. We've only got technologies and service stocks towards the upper end of that range. Healthcare, real estate kind of pausing at that hold range, and everything else in downtrends. We're seeing commodities, USO, which is oil, finding some strength overall in the last week, a couple of days to downside. Keep an eye on USO. And also silver shares retracing back into that corrective zone around that 382. It's broken down through that momentum area and weakening, but still in an uptrend and just consolidating, correcting that uptrend. Same with gold. Gold has started this downtrend, and so at this point, once it's in this downtrend, it could find some support at this area and ultimately move back higher. But this is an area where we want to be out of any kind of holding. If we're looking at gold, we want to wait for it to find the support and then turn back up again. So this is now starting to show some additional weakness. Really weakness across most commodities right here. We're seeing gold, we've seen silver, which is continuing to drop, and we've seen copper, which is also continuing to drop right here. Natural gas is strengthening as well. The reason to talk about commodities just briefly is a lot of times they do have an undertone in that big picture of economic, tax, like on oil. That's just an additional expense that's really at the foundation of inflation. So we'll keep an eye on some of those just quickly. And then Muscle Stocks Group today, not a whole lot to choose from in there, but let's take a look at these. CLS and CLSK, these have been, CleanSpark is in that mining space, that Bitcoin mining. Those are starting to find some support. Not a very good looking pattern, real choppy still. It's got some work to do to get back up into that momentum zone. DNTH, decent looking pattern, some support right here, not quite as strong as I would love to see that. So really not a great group. Let's look at Williams-Sonoma. We're seeing some bigger names, home retail, construction stocks showing up in that list. So really, even though we're in that strong uptrend, it definitely warrants some caution right here at these levels, based on the fact that these internals are weakening and we've only got a small group of stocks that are leading. That's fine if we're concentrated in some of those names, but overall the market as a whole, we'll watch to see. Looks like futures are down this morning, and we'll see what we get today. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.